everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be jumping into Smart Fires by London Studios. We're going to be doing a bit of a install demonstration as well as a kind of a showcase video to show you guys what to expect from the Smart Fires London Studios resource. So you can purchase this resource by going to store.londonstudios.net, which will be linked in the description. When you're here, you can go ahead and go to the fire area and you can find the Smart Fires resource. Essentially what this resource does is it will create manual fires, give your players the ability to, do a command for fire to appear. It will do manual smoke, so your players can make smoke come out of objects within the server. There's different extinguish commands. There's hose integration with their London Studios Smart Hose resource. There's other integrations like Inferno Pager, PS Dispatch, C Dispatch, and some more. There's responsive fires, so the fires respond different to various weapons. So if you're, tackling an electrical fire with water, you're going to see a size increase. And obviously everything is all configurable. You can there's also smoke after you extinguish your fires. There's realistic difficulty, water monitor integration with their water monitor resource that's linked there. There's full permission support for ESX, VRP, and Cubic Core, along with ACE permissions for Discord. There's automatic fires that you can config to pop up. This can be adjusted according to the number of firefighters online with ESX, VRP, and Cubic Core. One great thing about all London Studios resources, or at least most London Studios resources, is they have that really good integration with the various economy and vMenu frameworks, stuff like that. So there's area of patrol integration. You can set this up in advanced in the config file, and basically you can easily switch the area of patrol with an in-game command, and fires will only spawn in that specific area of patrol. So if you're patrolling in Sandy Shores, you're not going to have fires in Los Santos. So very cool indeed. Inferno Pager, as we mentioned earlier. Discord logging. There's set up new smoke and fire types, so obviously an update that they've done, and there's different exports for developers and various, ways you can integrate the script externally. Full documentation is linked, as well as some screenshots, but we're going to go ahead and jump into this, install it, and show you guys kind of what this script has to offer. So to begin, after you purchase the resource, you're going to head over to keymaster.fivem.net, and you're going to click Granted Assets. You should see the Smart Fires resource right here. Just click Download. It should pop up, and download to your computer. From there, you're going to navigate over to your resources folder, at which point you're going to go ahead and create a new folder and name it Smart Fires, just like our other resources. You're going to open up the .zip that you downloaded, smartfirespack.zip, and you're going to see quite a bit of files. Essentially, you're just going to drag and drop all of the files into your folder that you created within your resources. You're then going to go ahead and go to your server config. Within your server config, you're going to go ahead and type ensure smart fires, just like that. Save that file, and now we're going to go ahead and bounce back. We can close out our zip that we downloaded, and we are going to go ahead and jump into the configuration of the Smart Fires resource. Okay, so quite literally everything is configurable on this resource. This is a big config. This is one of the bigger ones that we're going to be doing on the channel, but trust me, it's worth it to configure each one of these values because it will help you so much down the line with the realism and, the experience that you have with this resource. All right, so starting off, the main configuration here for aux inventory, this is to use a lighter. So if you have a lighter object with aux inventory, you can turn that to true. This will give you the fire size of the lighter offset. So you can change these values to pretty much offset the fire from the actual item itself. So if you put a lighter here, and it's going to spawn at these coordinates based off of where your character's standing at. Fire spawn and distance is a performance thing. Basically what it does is it's going to be the distance that you need to be for a fire to spawn. So you're going to be 200. I'm not really sure the units here, but you're going to be 200 whatever this is, away from the fire for it to actually render in for your performance. So very optimized. Same thing with the smoke underneath. These are you don't want to have these so the whole server is going to be downloading a fire in Los Santos when half the people are playing in Blaine County, because you're going to get frame loss and other issues. Hose LS. So if you're using the smart hose resource or another hose system that is similar, then you can turn that on. For this demonstration, we're not going to be, so we'll just put that to fulls. Distance to spawn fires in front. So basically, it's going to avoid players being damaged initially. So it's going to, when a player runs a command, it's not going to put them right where they're standing. It's going to put it 4.0, I would guess, meters away from them. Or, you know, maybe feet. But anyways, it's going to put them, it's going to put it away from the player so the player doesn't burn alive when they're starting the fire. So fire multiplier, or max width of fire multiplier. So for example, 15 would have a maximum width of 22.5 meters. It's rounded to the nearest integer. So essentially, it's going to be just your width of your fires. You know, how big are they, or how wide are they? Is going to be what that comes down to. Maximum final width. So, you know, obviously you can increase from the 1.2 to the 20. Can't go above the 20. So there's dynamic kind of, all fires kind of multiply, and this is kind of demonstrating that right there. Foam. So if you enable foam mode, you have to have the LS, the hose LS, hose London Studios smart hose resource, and then you can put foam on the fire. So that's another pro of having the hose LS resource. You can go ahead and use foam. Like I said, though, we are not going to be using the hose LS resource, so we're going to turn that to false today. Minimum size to extinguish. This is the minimum size a fire can be before the script, you know, removes it completely. So 0.5 is the maximum size that a fire can be before the script just says no more fire. Debug mode, we don't need debug mode. We're not debugging anything. If you do have bugs, or, you know, the London Studio support team's asking you to turn on debug mode, it's line 23 right here. You just turn that to true. Mythic Notify, most London Studios resources as of now are utilizing Mythic Notify. It is kind of an optional thing, but there's some pretty nice notifications and stuff, so you can turn that to true if you're using Mythic Notify. They do all the work for you. You just have to change that value. Very good of them to do that. Distance to extinguish kind of speaks for itself. You need to be whatever distance, or the fire needs to be whatever distance to extinguish. You can set that there. Explosion fires. So start fire on explosion. It's essentially, as soon as an explosion goes, a fire will occur after the explosion. Fire size, this will tell you kind of how big you want that fire to be after it explodes. Fire type. So there's all sorts of different fire types that we're going to get into down the configuration, normal, electrical, you know, various different types. After an explosion, if you want fire type normal, that's what you can do there. Is the explosion fire going to spread? Yes or no? And then ignored fire types. All the fire types are linked right here, explosions.html. So you can go ahead and set ignored fire types here if you have any you know, explosions that you don't want smart fires to trigger a fire for. Society payments. So I guess this is going to be for, you know, QB, ESX, etc. Paying your firefighters, paying the people with that job. So this section is spreadable fires. This is just more advanced configuration from above. Automatic fires. This will allow automatic fires to spread. Manual fires, this will allow manual fires to spread by default unless disabled manually. So if you want, you know, somebody to do /start fire and you want it to spread, then you can turn that to true. If not, then that's fine. Spread timer. So every 4 minutes is what it's set to by default. The fire will spread every 4 minutes by a increment of 5.0. So that's the spread distance that the fire is going to spread at. Automatic fires, once again, just more advanced configuration from above. We can go ahead and enable automatic fires or disable automatic fires here. You can toggle on initially, so if you want to have this on by default. Enable location command. So this command will give you the location to insert if enabled. Basically, you could do /mylocation, and it will give you the location in blue. Here's where we get into the area of patrol settings. So very cool kind of add-on to this is you can have it in a specific area of patrol. So if we want area of patrol settings turned on, we can do true right there. Default area of patrol, we're going to set it to the city. So that's what it will be when your server restarts or when your server starts up. You'll have all your fires starting in the city only. set area of patrol command. So you can enable that, and you can go ahead and make the command right there. You set fires AOP. Make sure it's different than your actual AOP script, or else they'll override. So for now, I would just leave it at set fires AOP. You're going to want to make sure that permissions are enabled for this, because anybody will be able to change it. So you can turn that to true, put Discord roles in, you can put ESX jobs in, specific jobs, VRP permissions, QB core permissions, and that is all pretty self-explanatory there for permissions. So this command here will toggle all areas of patrol on or off. So when toggled on, it means that the fires will spawn in all areas of patrol. So I guess that would be kind of server-wide. You can do that there, and there is the command toggles fires AOP. Once again, more permissions here that you can go ahead and enable. All right, and here's where we get into the locations of the fires. So these are different fires that you can config and set up sort of scenarios for your fire department. So when we're in the city area of patrol, these are the default fires. You'll have a garbage can on Eclipse Boulevard that's on fire, and it's going to be type normal 2. You have your size of that fire, the number of flames, if it's spreadable or not. So you can config that. If the type and size is not defined, random will be picked. So just remember that. So just keep that in mind, that if you don't have something defined, it will do it automatically for you. But anyways, there's all sorts of vectors. Make sure you use lowercase for location categories. So this is a location category. It has to be lowercase. Here's Sandy. So these are your kind of AOPs and your location categories. They have to be lowercase. And then you can just get these coordinates from vMenu, or different developer resources actually have coordinates that you can input and copy from. So there's plenty out there. Just search it up. Very easy to install. Just drag and drops. But here's the name and the different types of fires. Like I said earlier, fully configurable. You can add so many different scenarios and have very unique spawning locations and reasons for specific fires to spawn. So very, very cool add-on. And then you can add more location categories. Just make sure you don't forget the comma, because that will be very important. That comma at the end of each line is very important. Fires types to spawn. So this is the kind of a probability that you'll get a normal, chemical, normal 2, normal 3, bonfire, or electrical fire. Like said earlier, each fire has their own sort of characteristics towards them. For example, if you put water on an electrical fire, it will grow out of control. So you need to be very careful with which one you pick. Here's the chance of which will spawn. They must be all valid fire types that were configured in the fire types section. So that's important. And we will get to the fire type section very soon. So below, essentially, it's going to spawn fires in relation to the number of players currently with a certain job. So if there's 16 firefighters, you're going to have more fires than if there's only one. So very cool indeed. You can have that kind of dynamically change with the amount of people. If you're not using a framework, then you can go ahead and just ignore the job section and configure frequencies of fires and remove fires automatically. So if you're not using any jobs or specific frameworks, then you can do that there. Clock on system. This is for standalone servers who still want to use the automatic fires. Basically, just clock on, and then it will just put you in that role. So it's like having a job, but for a vMenu server, for example, if you're a standalone server. So you can turn that on. You can do the clock on command. Just like, this is pretty straightforward. If you're a QB core or server owner, you know how to set this up. You just turn it on and then do your different roles here. But the clock on command, clock fire on, there's the command there. There's if it's enabled or disabled. By default, it is on. And then your ACE permissions are listed here as well. If you would like for it to be a, for example, firefighter role in the Discord. Clock off command. You do not need permission to clock off if you've already got a clock on command permission. So there is no ACE permissions here for this one, but same thing, clock fire off. And here's the configuration values for that. Start fires with less than minimum, true. So here's the players per fire. This is the minimum 3. So this will basically be starting players with fires with less than minimum. It's set to true. If you want that false, you want maybe 10 people on for fires to start, then that's fine. And min and max are the different seconds. So every 5 40 seconds or every 9 minutes, a fire will spawn with the frequency of fire option. Remove fires automatically. So, if 15 minutes is what it's set to right now, if it's not already extinguished and it's just kind of sitting there burning, you don't have any firefighters on, then it will go ahead and clear it itself, once again, for optimization, and, not everything's going to be on fire all day. Blips. Here's where you can enable the specific sprite, the specific color, scale, short range, and route enabled. So basically, as soon as a fire comes out, you can have it so it routes your firefighters' GPSs to that with the above configuration. But you can have blips on here. It will show you where, why, kind of where it's going, where the fire is going on, stuff like that here. In-game alerts, notification true. Here's the different sound sets and sound names. This is pretty straightforward. You can just go to this link here to get the audio references for the notification sound. CD Dispatch is another framework, another resource that you can integrate with London Studios resource if you have the firefighter job. And the title there, we're not going to be using CD Dispatch, so there it is. Same thing with RCore Dispatch, QB Dispatch, all sorts of different configurations, display code, alert type. If you use these resources, likely you already know how to set all this up. Sonoran CAD, PS Dispatch, Inferno Pager, Night Software, MDT, all sorts of different things. Toggle automatic fires command. So if you're tired of getting a bunch of automatic random fires, you can go ahead and turn it off by doing /toggle auto fires in the chat. And then you can have that as a permission-based system, so only administrators can do it, only firefighters can do it, etc. You can set that up there. Very useful if you don't want to get spammed with fires every 5 minutes. ESX integration for the automatic fires command is listed there as well. QB core, all sorts of other things there. Trigger automatic fire. You want you're bored, you're sitting at the station, your firefighters have nothing to do, /trigger automatic fire or /trigger auto fire will automatically dispatch your fire department to a random location within the server. Also very useful to servers who might not have a lot of civs doing fire roleplay, but firefighters who are eager to do fire roleplay. Very good there. ACE permission system, like we stated, same thing with the ESX VRP. Sounded like a broken record at this point, but you guys kind of get that permission configuration. It's pretty straightforward. Start fire command. So this is if you have that manual fires turned on at the top there, you can do /start fire. There is a cooldown of 60 seconds, so a minute. And then there's ACE permissions here. So if you only want civs to be able to start fires, you can set up your Discord ACE perms there. And that's how that goes in that section. I would recommend it because your civs can use it for different scenes and stuff along the nature of that. Same thing, ESX, you want to set it as a civ to only be able to create fires, then you can do that, check permissions, stuff like that. Enable multiple flames would just be so you can fill in multiple flames in your field. Logging, very important if you need to figure out why a fire started somewhere. You can go ahead and turn that on to true. There's different icons, different titles and stuff that you can have in your embed on Discord, and you can set that up there with your display name and all other information. Stop fire command. So if you have the start fire command, it would be important to have this. This will stop the closest fire. So it won't start the fire. It won't stop the fire that you started. It will stop the closest one, and it takes an argument distance of, for example, 4.0 as stated here. So /stop fire. Then it checks these distances, and it will stop the fires within that distance. This is something that I would probably have ACE permed. However, it's up to you and your server. Anybody will be able to stop fires at their free will. VRP, QB core, and stuff, and those permissions are there again. This command stops all fires on the server. So you're getting tired, you have too many fires going on. This will stop all fires. Definitely make sure this one is permission locked. Very important indeed for this command to not be abused. Same ACE permissions, ESX, VRP, and various other frameworks there. Start smoke command, very similar to the start fire command. You're going to do /start smoke and smoke will appear. Very good for different Civ scenes. Civs will love this option here. ACE permissions, ESX, and various framework integration. Stop smoke command, as stated with the stop fire command, it will stop the closest smoke in these two distances. There's the command, there's the enabled, and there's the ACE permissions, ESX, VRP, and etc. Stop all smoke command. You're going to want to stop all the smoke in the server. Too much smoke going on. It's too smoky. There you go. Once again, lock this one down. Make sure that that one's not getting abused by any of your players. So this is going to go ahead and be where we configure the weapons for what can and cannot extinguish our fires. So weapon_hose, as this is if you're using hose ls, which just streams a custom model into the game, be weapon_hose, and the name is hose. And this will be the performance of how the hose works. And if it's the wrong fire type, such as the electrical one, it will increase by 1.3. So you got to make sure your firefighters are educated and know kind of the fire types and know how to specifically deal with certain fires. But this will be how much it reduces by. This is how much it increases by if it's the wrong fire type. Underneath, we got extinguisher. This is just the default. Every server has the default weapon fire extinguisher. So make sure your players have access to the extinguisher. Once again, same thing. Will reduce by 0.76. Will increase by 1.6 if it is the wrong fire type. Foam. This is only going to work with hose ls, and you must have foam enabled in the config section of hose ls. But the name will be foam, and here's the same values, speed as spoken by above. If you're using the water monitor resource by London Studios, you can also set it up so your water's getting monitored. So you can also set it up, I think that's like a cannon, if I remember. Oh no, that's deck gun. I'm not really sure what their water monitor resource, maybe that's something we'll install next video. But it will increase and reduce by those values there. Along with the deck gun, that is going to be the little gun on the top of your fire truck. But again, you need to have the water monitor resource for this section to work. Translation. So you can translate all elements of this resource into another language if you so desire. So very cool indeed. From commands to, these are pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but these are notifications. These are commands. These are, little things that pop up in the description when you're running the command, help notifications, all sorts of things in this script you can translate, which is very, very nice. You can even just run this through ChatGPT, and you can just ask it to translate the stuff in the quotes, and it will do it for you, so you don't have to go ahead and run it individually. So very, very nice of London Studios to make all of their notifications configurable. If you have a custom way you like your notifications to be, you can go ahead and customize that there, type all sorts of things. Every single thing that's inputted by the user can be configured here. Every single thing the user sees can be configured there. You can change it to be a different language or whatever you'd like. Here we go. We're getting into the types of fires now. Smoke types, for example. If we have a normal smoke, this is basically, I'm not going to go too much into this because this is a pretty advanced configuration. But this comes down to the different models it's calling within the game, the different textures it's going to spawn, the maximum size, the minimum size, and the offsets. You don't really want to touch the offsets. Maybe these size for manual you're going to want to touch because you don't want to have a smoke covering the whole server. So these are pretty important values. But I would not touch these, and I would not touch the offsets. So these two values, unless you're having issues, but these two values are going to be kind of what you're going to want to config here. Like I said, this is just talking about ambient electrical crackle, for example, as pulling the texture out there. You can change that if you'd really like to, but I would not recommend it. Foggy, normal. So this is basically you're going to run /start smoke, and you're going to put normal 3 foggy, normal 4, normal 5, whatever. Fire type, same thing. This gets a little more advanced, but so you have your normal fire here. It will talk about the smoke that comes with that normal fire. So for normal fire, we're going to have smoke type normal 2. Up here, we were configuring smoke type normal 2. So that's basically what's going on here in this little section. But you can size multiply your smoke. You can keep the smoke on after the fire goes away. You And if you have that on, there's your duration of how long the smoke will stay around, X amount of seconds after the fire. This is the smoke after the fire compared to the initial size. So very cool that you can have both integrated. If you want crazy different type of smoke, you can change that there. Here we go to put out. So this is basically talking about your weapons that we configured up there: weapon water, weapon extinguisher, weapon foam. This is basically going to put, this is what is going to, this, if you add another weapon, you need to add another weapon here, but this is the weapons that put out the fire, the specific fire. If you have a specific type of weapon to put out normal fire, then you need to put that there. To increase, nothing increases this fire because this is just a normal, whereas the electrical, weapons.water would be under 2 increase, for example. Multi-flames allowed, so if you want to have multiple different flames, it's pretty much just the size, stuff like that. Maximum multiplier of flames, 16 is the default value. Difficulty, so out of 50, how hard is your fire to put out? Maximum fire size manual, so how big can the player make fire normal? Minimum fire size automatic, so will it automatically, it will not be smaller than 1.5 if it automatically spawns fire normal. This is the maximum fire size that is started automatically, so opposite of this. Basically, it's not going to be over 4.5 in size if it's automatically started by the script. So if you have a 2 increase, then this is going to be the maximum size that it can increase by. We don't have any 2 increase, so it's not going to increase in this specific instance. But if you do have a 2 increase, it's going to multiply by 10 on top of the weapon. So very important to set that. Minimum fire size manual. So when you're running the fire command /start fire normal, you can't make it smaller than 0.5. Damage distance. So this is the distance at which the player can be when they start experiencing damage. Don't recommend editing the offsets. They're set specifically like this. Don't touch it unless you're having issues with it. In that case, mess around. And then we kind of just come down with all the different fire types. You've already kind of seen it on the first one. I'm not going to go through every single one because they're all kind of the same, but they're just the different values in each. Here we go with the chemical. You can see the instance of 2 increase. Chemical fire, you're going to be increasing if you put water on it, if you put the water monitor on it, or the deck gun. So if you're using chemical, and this is an instance of 2 increase, and like I said, this is how much it's going to increase by. So very important that you watch these 2 increase. Same thing with the electrical here. We got more water there. Fire props. So what is the fire going to attach to for the automatics? Don't really need to touch this. I mean, they've already done most of this, but if you have a specific prop that you want to light on fire for the automatic script, then you can add it there. So that is going to do it for the configuration of the London Studios Smart Fires. That was a bit of a long configuration, so hopefully you guys kind of stuck around. Let's go ahead, jump in game, and see what the script has to offer for us in game. All right, so we have jumped in game now. We're going to do /trigger auto fire. And we should see that a new GSD hot dog stand is on fire. So I did previously set the AOP, so I did /set fire AOP, fires AOP, and I did Sandy. Oops, Sandy. And then it says success, updated the area patrol to Sandy. If we go ahead and check our map, you'll see that the blip says GSD hot dog stand fire, and it has been listed, and we are en route. So if I were to get into the fire truck, you can see that I am now being routed to that GPS location. Take a left here. And here we are on scene of the fire. We can go ahead and try to put it out with the water gun on the top of the truck. I don't know if this is actually a valid weapon that will work because I don't think we added it to the config. So we'll go ahead and get out with our extinguisher. We'll go ahead and extinguish our fire with the extinguisher, hoping that it will work. The hot dog stand is on fire. Nobody's going to be able to get their hot dogs. And we will keep applying the fire extinguisher until it gets out successfully. You can see that another fire was just automatically triggered over here at the Grapeseed grocery stand. So the rate of fires is configurable. Obviously, I triggered this one manually, but there is another fire that they are calling for. And there we have it. We have stopped the fire. The smoke is still going off because we set it up so it does that, but the fire has stopped and the smoke will automatically dissipate soon. So that is all the settings that we set up. That was kind of in play there. We can also do /start fire. We could do a, a normal fire. We could do a size of, for example, 4.0. And we could do 3 numbers of flames. You can see there's our flames, there's our fires. It looks like 2 and 3 are kind of merged together. But there we go with our fire started manually, and the fire department would be on their way. So we can do stop fire now and stop those 2. We can also do start smoke type normal 6. Obviously there's already smoke there, but we'll add some more 4.5 worth of smoke, and here we go with all the smoke that you can possibly ask for. Once again, all configurable. Every single element of the script is configurable. We're going to go ahead and stop all smoke. That's going to stop smoke globally, and there we go. So there is a bit more, but I mean, that is kind of the main aspect of the script. The rest you can kind of experiment with yourself, just little other details, little other integrations with scripts and stuff like that. But that is the bulk of what the script can do. We have our automatic fires set up in Sandy Shores. We can trigger an automatic fire. We can change the AOP. We can go ahead and put a fire up ourselves, put smoke up ourselves for our citizens to play around with. So really great script by London Studios. That is going to go ahead and do it for this demonstration and install video. A little bit of a longer one, but some people were kind of struggling with the installation of this resource. So I hope that I was able to break it down for everybody who has any questions, comments, or concerns. Links to everything will be in the description of the video. Check out the other installs for other London Studios resources. London Studios does a great job of creating these resources for people to use. Appreciate you guys watching today's video. We'll see you later on Flea Live.